In the early 1900s, the Texas Division, United Daughters of the Confederacy, donated 3 beautiful stained glass windows in honor of Texas troops to the Museum of the Confederacy in Richmond. And they're really quite large. They measure approximately 70 inches by 47. 47 wide, would that be about like that? And then 70 inches, I mean, they're huge. They're really big. Each state of the Confederacy was requested to send items from that state to create a room for that state. So the items created the Texas room, and Texas volunteered a whole bunch of items, and they were in the Museum of the Confederacy where Jefferson Davis had his headquarters during the war. Here's what it looked like. Look at all those wonderful items. Well, guess what? They're all in storage. Look at all of those. And I always look at that room and think, I wish I was there sitting at that table and sitting on those chairs. So we started out with Hood's Brigade in about 2011 or 12, and Rick Eiserman, our historian, called our attention to the fact that in Colonel Simpson's book, there was this black and white photo that you see here of the Texas Brigade that was a stained glass window, and it was identified. But we'd never seen these windows. We didn't know what they looked like. So we were doing a tour, one of our tours, and Rick persuaded the Museum of the Confederacy, now it's called the American Civil War Museum. We persuaded the Museum of the Confederacy to get these windows out for us to look at. And here actually is where that window would have been placed in the room originally. But in the middle of the, I think it was in the 70s, somebody can correct me here, they dismantled all of these rooms, the Texas room, the South Carolina room, the Tennessee room, and so forth, and put them into the collection of the Museum of the Confederacy in a separate building across the street, and restored the Jefferson Davis White House back to the 19th century. We look at that room again, and look at that stained glass window again in all its beauty. So we got to see this window, and we got to see the other 2 windows. The other 2 windows that were given in honor of Texas troops were to Terry's Rangers, that's the second one in the middle, and to Dick Dowling and his brave men. So there were 3 of them that were given by the Texas Division, the most windows given by any state to the Museum of the Confederacy. You wonder how the UDC came to donate these, and they were really the efforts of these 3 women, Angelina Winkler, Molly Rosenberg, very famous, and Katie Daffin. And Katie Daffin, in fact, was the longtime secretary of the Hood's Texas Brigade Association. She was active in the Texas Division UDC. She was active in Hood's Texas Brigade. She even ran for the state legislature in the early teens. Can you believe that? And it turns out she's a distant cousin of mine. So that was really great. So there was Katie Daffin. She was the one who read the roll out every year until finally there was no one answering the roll in about 1934, I think it was, and so they had to close down the original Association of the Old Soldiers. So who created this window? How did they raise the money? Are questions that I've managed to answer in a longer talk that I give. Each chapter donated for this, and when they fell short, then you see up there, each chapter was asked to donate $5 at the time, because they started working on this in 1899, and they got that window done in 1903. So Major Littlefield sprung up in action and donated the window to Terry's Texas Rangers. He raised the money for that. He gave that money. Now, the research that I did discovered that it was a Thomas Hoagland company in New York City who produced these windows. It was part of a period of time when stained glass windows were first, just for religious purposes, and this was a period of time, the turn of the century of 1900, when they were beginning to use them for secular reasons. And these windows fit into that. They're secular subjects. So here are the central panels again, and you can see there's the Hood's Brigade window way on the left, the campfire, the Terry Ranger, and he's, raising his arms, come on boys, and there's Dick Dowling with the cannon and stuff in the middle. And these are idealized pictures of these. They're things like, the pictures of the saints in the churches. These are idealized, just like that. So there they are again. And we want to encourage, just to end this, and I have a much longer talk than I give on this subject, but we want to encourage the American Civil War Museum has them in deep storage, and they won't bring them out. They wouldn't bring them out for us when we just took that trip to Richmond, right, this last June. So we haven't been able to see them. And we raised money, and the children of the Confederacy raised money to have these windows cleaned and restored about 10 years ago. And so we want to see these windows brought out so we can all see them. And we really, our underlying idea, our secret idea, is to go ahead and have them brought somehow to Texas. Thank everybody for coming.